Inter Milan 1, Arsenal 0. Now, I'm sure you guys probably wanted to hear my personal take on this game, and I'm not even gonna lie, man. I'm not even gonna lie. It is looking mad bleak for these, man. It is looking mad bleak. I listen, Standard FC ain't sounding so crazy right now. I'm not gonna lie. Listen, you lot, make sure you do subscribe to the channel and obviously make sure you're smashing the like button. Let's go for 225 likes. Let's up it ever so slightly. So let's go for 225 likes for this one. Obviously, going to be knocking down some home truths. And you lot probably think I'm going to be shouting and screaming and making fun of Arsenal. But I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm just gonna try hit you lot with some home truths and just kind of basically let you guys know kind of my opinion on the situation, because I could easily clown these guys and say they're shit and this, that, and the third, and they're not good enough. But the bottom line is, I think the problem lies a lot deeper than that with Arsenal Football Club. We're looking at a team that's now scored 2 goals in their last 4 games. We're looking at a team that are winless in their last 4 games. We're looking at a team that's failed to beat Newcastle, Brighton, and Bournemouth, and still managed to draw against Liverpool with a good performance. That's probably one of the good performances you've seen in the last like 7-8 games. Arsenal have simply not got going. They simply not got going this season, and at the end of the day, it's looking real spooky for some of the attackers that Arteta's put his faith into. Some of the attackers that, you know, the fans keep trying to protect week in, week out, stinker after stinker, and still protecting some of these players. Listen, just because your team is doing well, I'm not a fan of like, you know, avoiding. I'm not a fan of avoiding the obvious truths and, you know, the uncomfortable conversations. You're still allowed to critique players and to critique your team, and in whatever fashion that you want to do that. Yeah, even if your team is doing well, because there's no such thing as perfection at a football club. There's always somewhere to improve. There's always a way that you can do better, and there's always a way that you can tactically be more astute to approach games going forward, because every season is different. You are not guaranteed to challenge every single year, no matter how good you are. Anything can happen in the season. One Erdegaard injury and a few others into the back line, and Arsenal do look suddenly very, you know, wobbly at the back. Even when they had all the defenders to start with, Arsenal haven't looked like themselves. Raya was their best player in their back 5, and he's their goalkeeper. And what does that say about the defense? Now, it doesn't mean the defense is a bad defense all of a sudden. It doesn't mean these are bad defenders individually. But what it does mean is that something isn't quite right. And that could be either the opposition are looking at Arsenal and knowing what they're going to do now, or it means that, you know, the Arsenal, the boys simply haven't got going after coming back of what was an exhausting season last year, trying to compete against Man City. As a Liverpool fan, I can tell you guys firsthand, it is not easy year in, year out competing with Man City. Liverpool did not compete year in, year out with City. We competed about 2/3 of the time, but there was 2 off seasons where we didn't. There were 2 off seasons where we got, one was where we got injuries, and the other one was where we had a few injuries, but ultimately the midfield had burnt out and the legs weren't there anymore, and the machine stopped working. And therefore, no matter how good our attack and defense was, we still suffered. We still suffered. And that can happen to anyone. And I believe that Liverpool team was better than this Arsenal team. So it's still very much possible that Arsenal might not challenge this year and maybe get back to it next year. But do you guys have the time? I don't think you do. I don't think Arsenal have the time. This game against Inter Milan, for me, wasn't a bad performance from Arsenal, but it wasn't a good one. They let you guys have the ball. They rotated very heavily. Now, I understand Arsenal didn't have Rice. I understand you didn't have Odegaard until when you brought him on and he's just coming back from injury. However, the selection still could have been a little bit different. You keep putting faith in players like Martinelli, you know, who's not been good for over a year and a half now. He's got 6 goals in 11 months. I mean, for a winger, I don't even know what more do I need to say for that. What more do I need to say? Me calling Martinelli a scrub isn't a reason for everyone to jump on my back. You should be jumping on Arteta for trusting the kid for this long, because the sentiment at times was killing. I don't know whether you want to call it sentiment or lack of backing from the board, and maybe that's because Edu's gone. I don't know what it is. You guys can call it as you want. Let me know in the comments. But at the end of the day, Martinelli You ain't winning no league with Martinelli starting left wing, in my opinion. And the same could be said for Kai Havertz up front, but at least Kai Havertz is actually putting up the numbers to try and keep you guys afloat and can still be part of the squad. And that's not me saying Martinelli can't be part of the squad, but when he runs on the ball and when he's doing what he's doing, he just doesn't seem like he's going to do anything effective. And if it's going to happen, it's probably going to be once in a blue moon, like what it has been for so long. He hasn't developed in the last 2 years. And a lot of this onus has fallen on Saka, and even he's burnt out. And the answer to that was Raheem Sterling. Well, yeah, I understand he's Jamaican and that, but yeah, it's crazy to me. You know, the signing of Mikel Merino doesn't really make the world of sense at the moment. He might come good in the long run, but do Arsenal have a long run to kind of trust him right now? This is one of the best opportunities to win the league. Liverpool have a new manager. Granted, we're top of the league and we're on form, but there's still a lot of work to do. You know, you guys are in your phase 5 or phase 6, and this should be the time for you guys to be kind of taking that mantle off of Pep. Man City are down and wounded right now, albeit only 2 points from the top. That just goes to show how much of a juggernaut they really are. But Arsenal are in a bad, bad way. Mkhitaryan did not start today. Barella did not start today. Bastoni did not start today. DeMarco did not start today. Acerbi or Acerbi, I don't know how you say his name, the other centre back, he did not start today. These men have been rotating in the Champions League like it's nothing. They rotated against City, got the draw. They've rotated against you guys, got the dub. They have Napoli on the weekend. They're rotating, bringing off the strikers as well. They didn't even start Thuram. Thuram didn't start either. And they still got the job done. I don't know when the next Arsenal goal is coming, if I'm honest. If it ain't from a set piece, where's the goal coming from? You look at that midfield about Odegaard, and it's an issue. A big, big issue. Not enough trust in the 17-year-old in Ethan Nwaneri. I'm not going to go into the details. You all know what we're going to say. Gave away Smith Rowe, sent Fabi Vieira on loan, and now you're stuck with a 17-year-old that you don't trust. All granted, as good as a footballer he is, he's not being trusted. So why make that decision in the first place? But the bottom line is that Arsenal have just looked flat for a minute now. Very, very flat. And I feel like even the players don't feel confident in front of goal. Bukayo Saka looks like he's running out of ideas. Martinelli's brainless, and Trossard doesn't know where his best position is, and he's not good enough to start for Arsenal. He's a bench warmer. That's the bottom line. He's a bench warmer. This is the dark truth about Arsenal at the moment. If they want to get back to anywhere where they need to be, it isn't relying on one sole player to remain at the top level. They can go back to winning games when Odegaard's there, but he's not always going to be fit. This isn't Player FC. This is Arsenal Football Club, not Odegaard Football Club. It's not Martin Odegaard FC. The fact that he's injured shouldn't absolutely deplete the whole creation and guile that you man step into every game with that strikes fear into a lot of teams in the league. Teams are starting to fear Arsenal less and less when Odegaard's not there. The dependency on one player is crazy. And a lot of the fans are now questioning Edu, even though he's leaving, questioning the board. You know, you're questioning the signings, questioning Arteta, and rightly so. But the same people questioning the signings that came in the summer are the same people protecting the players that they deem apparently aren't good enough. If the players are good enough, then you don't need to directly complain about the window. But for me, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth here, guys. You're dying on the hill for some of these players that clearly aren't good enough, knowing that you should have made additions in the summer. So are they good enough or they're not good enough? Which one is it? Arsenal need to buck up their ideas ASAP. Their record in Europe away from home is abysmal. It's nothing short of embarrassing. And right now, it's really looking like Poch's Tottenham and Arteta's Arsenal aren't looking too different at the moment. And if you guys really want to do something serious and you really want to win the big trophies, because you are in dire need of a major, because it's been 20 years, you're not acting like it. The manager isn't acting like it. We'll see what happens against Chelsea. We'll see what happens. But Arsenal Football Club have a lot of thinking to do right now. That midfield of CeeLo Green, Rod Wave, and E40 is looking incredibly, it's looking tiresome. And Odegaard probably absolutely has to start on the weekend. I don't really know what's going on with Rice, but we'll have to see. The defense is back and you guys are still leaking goals. So a lot to think about for Arteta, man. I'm not going to sit here, laugh, shout, scream like I do that enough. So I just thought I'd kind of come in here and have that conversation. But Arsenal need to fix up. and fast. One more loss against Chelsea, and I generally do think that's the title done for them. Listen, it's been another episode of Big Six Pants. Big up Inter Milan. They're doing very, very well. They're definitely one of the favorites in the Champions League alongside what I'd say Liverpool. I think Liverpool, Barcelona, and Inter Milan. And of course, you can never rule out Real Madrid are the four right now. You could probably throw Bayern in there, but they're the 4/5 right now that are really looking the likely. But listen, we'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure you smash the like button. And yeah, man, we'll talk. Speak soon, man. Speak soon. Big up.